Well, hi everybody. How's it going? Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to be talking about redefining health and wellness, and I'm thrilled that you can be here today. It is such an important topic, and I'm so excited to share this with you. So I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes to get in and get settled in. I have my cup of tea next to me, and you can do the same. There is a chat box on the side. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. I have made it private as to not distract everybody else in the room. So if you do have any questions or comments that you would like to ask me, please feel free to just put that into the chat box on the right-hand side, and I'll see what I can do. All right, see what I can do to answer your questions. Okay, this webinar is sponsored by Rock City Wellness, an integrative wellness facility, which is located in Rochester, New York. We have nearly 20 practitioners housed within Rock City Wellness, and we have there at the facility acupuncture, chiropractic care, coaching, energy work, functional rehabilitation, massage therapy, and postural alignment therapy. We have a lot of good stuff going on. We welcome you to check us out, and we'll offer that information later at the end of the podcast or webinar. But yeah, we'd love to keep in touch with you afterwards, and it'll be fun. It's a fantastic place to be and to visit. Okay, so I know your time is valuable, so let's get started. I am Christine Baker Marriage, and happy to be here today. Okay, but before we dive right in, let's see what we're actually going to be learning today, okay? We are going to take a look at the definitions, the similarities, and the differences between health and wellness, all right? I will also introduce you to the many components of wellness. Wellness is a buzzword that's been going around for a while now, and along with that buzzword is the buzz phrase, body, mind, and spirit. I'm sure you've all have heard it and used it, in many aspects of your career or life or what have you. I have too. And it's true. There is a connection there, and there's a complicated dynamic amongst different things that make up our wellness. But there are several more dimensions that contribute to our overall health that we need to take a look at. I'm going to show you those in a few minutes. And lastly, I want you to walk away with a vision, with a takeaway. I want you to grab onto something and make a change, only if you need it though, okay? I want you to be able to take something from this webinar and say, yeah, I can implement that in my life right now, and that's gonna help create a little bit more balance in your life, which will lead to wellness, which will ultimately lead to health. We'll get more into that as we go along. All right, we're all in search of balance. I have never met anybody that is not in complete, or that is in complete balance or wellness. So I plan on giving you, a couple things that you can use instantaneous in your life to help you out. All right, now I want to take a moment to introduce myself so you know what I'm bringing to the table. All right, that's me in the bottom right corner. I am a mother of 5 children, and yes, they are all mine. I get asked that all the time, and yeah, they're all mine. They range in age from 21 all the way down to 5. So you can probably imagine that I've seen a wide range of health issues and an even wider range of health practices or imbalances just within my own family. In 2007, I became a licensed massage therapist in the state of New York and have loved every minute of it. The body fascinates me in general, so working with the body and manipulating it to relieve pain and to create ease and comfort just blows my mind. It brings me joy, really, to be able to do that for people. Being an LMT in the Rochester area, I discovered that we needed more support. There was not a lot of postgraduate support for LMTs. So we needed a group or an alliance for business support, networking, continuing education, that sort of thing. So nothing like this really existed. And so I founded the Rochester Massage Alliance. And now I'm proud to report that we have begun to expand into other parts of New York, like Syracuse. We are there now and partnering with Crouse Hospital. And it's been a tremendous asset, at least I hope so, to the massage therapy community. And we've really tried to elevate the kind of community and job as a whole. And it's been a fantastic experience. I've gotten to meet a lot of very interesting, very knowledgeable and talented people. I'm grateful for that. That's been going on for about 3 years. And then from my work with the Alliance and working with practitioners that wanted to collaborate with other like-minded practitioners, not only for their clients' sake, but for the sake of working with others and learning from others, Rock City Wellness was born. There's other reasons that went into why Rock City Wellness was born, and we'll get into that at another webinar. But we've been at that for about 2 years now, and that has been so much fun. It gives me such great joy to be able to create a place that's safe, where all of our patients and clients have options. They have options of health and wellness. And it's just been, again, I'm just completely enthralled that I'm able to do this. I'd love for you to check it out. And again, I'll give you that information at the end. It sounds like a lot, and it is, but it's all completely worth it. And I'm quite blessed to be in the position I'm in. Another thing that's on my to-do list, or not to-do list, but job description, I guess, is I'm a health and wellness advocate. For as long as I can remember, I've been an advocate for people and their choices. I've always wanted the best for people and their goals, so it makes sense that it's my mission to bring information and options so that they can make the best choices for themselves. So I'm really excited to be in that position as well. In the beginning of 2015, I began the Aim to Thrive movement at the office at Rock City Wellness. It centers around our personal wellness goals and how we can aim to thrive instead of just merely survive. So many of us just survive, but life has so much more to offer than that. So I made it my mission for the office, and actually it's kind of taken over other aspects of my life, to help people aim to thrive. And what I mean by that, actually we can break that down even further. AIM is in capital because it's an acronym for Always Initiate Movement. And I think that is the key to being successful in your wellness goals, or being able to work towards them in an efficient and successful manner, is if you always initiate movement. If you always say, you know what, I'm going to get up today. I'm going to take a half a mile walk today, or instead of Burger King, I'm going to get a salad, or whatever choices you make to better your life, that is movement. And if you always initiate just a little bit, that is going to help you in the long run. I promise you. Now, it's different from everybody, right? My goals are different than your goals. And that's what wellness is all about. My wellness is not your wellness. It's completely different. I'm made up of, excuse me, a totally different, system and values and whatever else. But it doesn't mean that we have to do this alone. So through education and through webinars like this, and through all of our practitioners at the office, our whole mission is to help you be healthy by supporting your wellness goals and supporting all the components that go into wellness. Okay, so enough about me. Let's move on. Let's take a look at why understanding the difference between health and wellness is so important. Let's see what the cost is going to be if you don't recognize the difference between the two and have knowledge of the different components of wellness. So let me ask you this. Let me bring up a scenario and see if this sounds familiar. Have you ever felt too tired to play with your kids? I know I have. More often than not sometimes. It's awful to see their disappointment on their faces, right? I can tell you from experience from my own childhood that my parents were often too tired to play with me as well. And that is what I remember most, unfortunately. Not the times that they actually played with me, but the times that they didn't. That's what stuck with me, unfortunately. That is not a life filled with wellness, nor was it a healthy one for them. They had different health issues and whatever else, and made choices that didn't ultimately lead to their overall health. And that's an imbalance that needs to be corrected, so that we can make those connections with our children, and you can create those memories. Those are going to last with them for a lifetime, right? Or how about this one? Do you know somebody that is not happy in their job? I know several people. The common pattern amongst them is that they struggle with finding joy and meaning in a job that they hate. And can you blame them? What happens, however, is that this job has sucked the life out of them all day long. And then when they return home, or to non-job time, if you will, it takes so long for them to recover from that imbalance, from that rut that they've been in all day long, from this awful job or awful, stifling feelings or whatever they're experiencing during this time, that it takes them so long to recover from, that bottomed out, balance or imbalance, if you will, that by the time they do get back to a kind of a workable state, or a balanced state where they, feel functional again and feel like they're back to normal again, it's time to go back to work. It's a ridiculously vicious cycle that will seep into other aspects of their lives and often manifests into illness. I see that a lot. People not giving themselves enough opportunity to create balance in their lives, and they wind up being sick all the time, and they wonder why. Excuse me. Or what about this scenario? I know I'm guilty of this sometimes too. You feel overwhelmed. It seems that everyone needs your attention, and all you want to do is run, right? You procrastinate, you avoid, you make excuses. Does this sound familiar to you? This is not a balanced life. This imbalance will eventually lead to many dimensions of your wellness to be compromised and ultimately create suffering, either mental or physical or both even, for you. You're sabotaging your own success and wellness because of an imbalanced life. That's not what we want, right? In each of our scenarios, there was an imbalance of wellness. This imbalance ultimately leads to disease. There is something in your physical body that finally says, okay, you know what? I totally give up. And you win. Your resistance lowers. And that, unfortunately, invites, viruses and infections. And that's when we find, we get sick and we get run down and whatever else. So these rudimentary, examples are just that. They're rudimentary. It's much more complicated than that, right? There's many things that go into creating wellness. But what I wanted you to do, though, is to start get the juices flowing and start to see if you can connect with any of those. Can you connect with any, health goals or any wellness opportunities that maybe you're lacking in, or maybe imbalance that you need to take a look at? I want you to, kind of have that in the forefront of your mind, as we move on. All right, so this cost, this imbalance that we've created in our lives, is it worth, paying for it voluntarily like this? Or do we want to create optimum health and wellness in our lives? I think, if you're like me, I'm going to pick door number 2. So that's what I'm going for. When people think of health and wellness, they often combine them and use them synonymously. And I'm here to tell you that they are in no way synonymous. It really needs to be a separate entity. So let's get into the meanings of them. Let me just advance this. Okay, so before, and by before I mean many, many years ago, health used to be known as the simple absence of disease. And interesting story, back in the 14th century, the old French language coined the term disease, which was lack of comfort or discomfort, essentially. And it wasn't until the 17th century that the English kind of, anglicized the term and made it disease. So I thought that was kind of cool. Wanted to share that with you. Anyways, the World Health Organization now states that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity, which is fantastic. And I'm so glad that they've, broadened their range beyond the absence of illness, because I think it is so much more than that. But something that I want you to remember, excuse me while I take a sip of my tea because my throat's a little dry. Thank you. Something I want you to remember is that health is measurable. Health is not something that we can, make choices on. Health is hardcore. It's cut and dry. It's measurable. Okay, so just keep that in the back of your mind as we move on. All right, so let's talk about wellness. The quality or state of being healthy in body and mind, especially as a result of a deliberate effort. And I love this phrase, as a result of a deliberate effort, because wellness is all about the choices that you make. And I love that they've added this in the description or definition of wellness. It's an approach to healthcare that emphasizes preventing illness and prolonging life as opposed to emphasizing treating illnesses. Again, love this approach, love the wording that they used, because when we make choices to better our life, we are prolonging our life. We are improving the quality of our lives and ultimately preventing illnesses, because we are creating a balance within ourselves where illnesses cannot grow. Okay? Does anybody have any questions thus far? Just going to check real quick. Nope? Okay. Okay, so, all right, so that's the definition of wellness. So remember when I said that health is measurable? Well, wellness is a conscious choice and completely subjective. These are my 2 cents. I was asked to do a radio show a few weeks back with John Hutchings and Fitness Edge Media, a great guy and a great platform. He is on ESPN Radio in Rochester, New York. If you ever get a chance to listen in, I completely recommend it. Fascinating, platform that they have, and brings in a lot of interesting people in the community to share their, take on fitness and health and wellness, and so it was a privilege to be there. But he asked me before I showed up to give him my definition of wellness, and I, can write it all day long, all the stock definitions, but he says, no, I want to hear what you have to say. So I finally wrote it down, and I'll share it with you now. Wellness, in my, my definition of wellness, is a subjective perception of our interdependent wellness components with the driving intention of thriving and creating health based on those balanced components. Now, whoa, there's a lot of big words in there, but let me break it down for you. So all I'm trying to say is that wellness are the choices that we create for ourselves. Like I said before, wellness, my wellness and your wellness are 2 completely different things. They may be similar on certain components, and that's completely acceptable and fantastic, and cool. We can just support each other through those particular components, but truly it is individualistic for each person, and nobody can judge you and nobody can define it for you. Okay. And then the driving intention is that I think ultimately we all want to be healthy. We all want to be well. We all want to make contributions to society. We all want to thrive. We all want to be a part of a bigger picture. And we can only do that when we are working at our best. So that's the driving intention of thriving. And then, we create health, and again, we'll get into this in a few minutes, but we create health and optimum health by keeping all of those components of wellness balanced. Okay, so hopefully we can all understand that, and it's a little wordy, but I try to pair out all the words. I try, but the words that were insignificant, but this is what I came up with, and I really think it speaks so true to all of us. Another thing that I shared with John is that you can be healthy and not well. There's 25-year-old client of mine is a 25-year-old male, and by all intents and purposes, very, very healthy man. If he were to have a complete physical today, he would be labeled in optimum health. But he doesn't have direction, doesn't not very social. And I'm not saying that's going to make or break his health, but all of these things are contributing to his wellness. And there, like I said before, there's an imbalance there. And just recently, he fell very ill. And, just like within the last 2 days, actually. And that's what I'm saying. It's, like last week, he was completely healthy by, testing standards and, blood count standards and whatever else. But it makes me wonder if all of these things that are imbalanced in his, wellness components are not leading to his illness right now. Something to think about. The other thing, or the flip side of that, is you can have wellness and be unhealthy. I have another client. This was years ago. She was diagnosed with metastasized breast cancer, and the doctors wanted to do immediate surgery, and she said no. And she wanted to see if she could handle things on her own, she said. So the doctors gave her a month to see what worked, to try her own thing and whatever else. So what happened was she changed her diet. She changed her exercise pattern. She exercised every day. I think she took a walk for an hour every day. She changed her food intake. She began to meditate every day. She sought out counseling so that she could handle this diagnosis in a productive manner, instead of doing all the whys and why me and this and that and the other thing. She immediately went into counseling so that she could work through those questions kind of immediately, and then get to kind of a plan of attack, so that and so she could manage any ups and downs that may come her way. What else did she do? She did a whole bunch of other things that helped her wellness, and a month later her cancer had shrunk, and with no invasive means, no chemo, no radiation, no surgery. The doctors were dumbfounded. Now, okay, disclaimer, I'm not saying that you go out and do that if you have cancer. Certainly talk with your doctor about that. But I'm saying that story, sharing that story with you, because I think it's such an amazing illustration of how much control we really do have over our bodies, and that creating a body that is well will ultimately lead us to good health. But then vice versa, if we don't have our wellness components in check or in balance or striving towards wellness, then we also invite disease in. Okay, so while they are kind of working in conjunction with each other, they're also very different. I think the ultimate goal is to create a sense of balance within your wellness, and that will ultimately lead to health. And it's up to you to decide, how you want to live your days, really. Okay, so let's talk about the similarities of health and wellness. And this, my friends, is it. They both represent the overall state of the individual. And that is really it. They sound synonymous, but they're not. They both represent very different things, but they do talk or speak to the overall state of the particular individual. So from now on, we must refer to health. So from now on, we must refer to health when we are talking about something that is measurable. Okay, and when we talk about wellness, we are talking about our choices. So let's look at the differences. In health, we are talking about a state of being. It's something you can measure. It's something you can look at and say, yep, you got a broken leg, or yep, your test results came back and you're anemic, or what have you. And with wellness, it's really the way that you live. It's the way that you engage in life. It's the choices that you make. Okay? In health, we often see actions towards our health in a reactive state. So what I mean by that is I have a cold, so I'm going to, make chicken soup. Or I have this chronic cough. I'm going to go to my doctor and either get medicine or tests, done to see if I have pneumonia or bronchitis or this, that, and the other thing. I broke my leg, to go back to that example, I'm going to go get a cast put on. See, all of these, again, all of these illnesses, measurable, they're very, excuse me, we're just in a reactive state, okay, when we're dealing with health. When we're dealing with our wellness, we are much more in a proactive state. So we try to nip things in the bud before they, get too out of control, right? We seek out acupuncture for headaches, or we seek out, we seek out acupuncture to eliminate the possibility of headaches. Or often I see people come into the office and they are getting acupuncture so that they can become pregnant. So they're making choices to have the best possible scenario if they choose to get pregnant. Some people do that. Some people choose to have chiropractic care so that they can have a healthy spine and prolong, their spine health, and all of it's fascinating. Anyways, back to health and the differences between health and wellness. We often, like we said before, consider health to be determined by the lack of disease. And the quality of life when we're dealing with health is often determined by the lack of disease. And how sad is that? That's the only qualification, is whether or not we're sick or not. But with wellness, your quality of life is what you choose. You can choose to be as healthy as you need to be. And I just find that enormously exciting because, really it's in your hands. On the flip side of that, it's in your hands, right? So you have the choice to improve. You have the choice to make a difference in your life. And if something is lacking in your life, you've got it. You've got the power to seek out those options and to seek out resources to fill up and to create balance in the components of your wellness. So it's just a fascinating model. So let's get into what makes up wellness. These are the 7 components of wellness, and this is what makes up you. Okay, I'm just going to introduce you to these to this module because to go in depth for each component will take several hours, and I know your time is valuable, so I won't do that. I've saved them up for future webinars, so please look for that on our website. You'll be able to listen to some of the local experts that we have working at our office in conjunction with some of these components. So look for that. I'm very excited about that. So the first one is intellectual. It's an intellectual component of wellness. This is your ability to recognize reality and the ability to cope and adjust to the demands of everyday life. It also represents your confidence and self-esteem and the ability to add tools to your tool chest through education or challenges and seeking ways to improve yourself and skills. Okay, so when we talk about body, mind, and spirit, this is kind of, we've expanded a little bit, past the body, mind, and spirit, marriage, and we're really including everything that makes us up. And in the mental state, or the mind rather, intellectual part of us is really, really important. It drives us. It gives us the confidence, to seek out the answers that we need and the balance that we need. And if that is lacking, then we need to fix that. All right, we need to work on that. The physical component of wellness is the way your body functions. And what are you doing to help your body function? Are you exercising? Are you giving yourself proper nutrition? Are you sleeping enough? I know I'm guilty of that because I like to stay up late and get some more work done. But are we sleeping enough? Are we creating, or that's saying our body's our temple? Well, it's true. We need to take care of, the house we live in, right? So what are you doing that's creating balance for that physical component? Okay. The social component of wellness. Now, not many people would consider this a component of wellness equal to the others, but I think it's so true. We are social creatures. We are social beings. Humans are meant to connect with other humans. So how are we doing that? Are we doing that well? What's the quality of our relationships? Are we inviting people in that are toxic? Are we surrounding ourselves with people that think like we do and are positive like we are, and have maybe same goals as we do, or same interests, or things like that? We feed off of each other whether we want to or not. There's scientific studies done. You can look them up. They're all over the internet about the pheromones that we exchange with each other. That's how somebody's in the room when you have your back to the door. There's this scientific connection, or there's this physiological connection with people, that we feed off of each other and we connect, and we need that. We need to have that connection. And so what are you doing to promote wellness in that aspect of your life? Environmental is the next one. So very simply, are you working in a safe and enjoyable environment? Are you living in a safe, enjoyable environment? What is your home life like? Do you feel safe there? If you feel safe there, you're going to thrive. If you don't feel safe there, everything will be compromised. Okay. Is your work enjoyable? Is your work, environment enjoyable? Because that's, a huge part of your day, right? It's a third of your day, more than likely. So is that safe and enjoyable for you? If not, get out, find another job. And also, lastly, if your air, food, and water are clean, then that also contributes to your environment. So are you getting, the proper foods? Are they safe? Are they, and honestly, this speaks to third world countries, not so much our country. But think about the people that are not having clean food and clean water, and think about what that does to them and their component of wellness. It's definitely creating an imbalance for them. Another aspect which was recently added, which I'm so glad that they did, is occupational or vocational component of wellness. And this was added because so many of us are taught to do what we love, right? Seek out a job that, will, you don't mind not getting paid for, or whatever, however, your mentors or people you look up to explain it to you. I came from both kind of sides of the tracks, I guess. I had a dad that didn't necessarily like his job, but but was good at what he did, and he went there every day with pride and hardworking intentions, and was there for 40 years, right? Was not his dream job. He would have rather been a history professor. But he did his job, and he did it well, because it was a priority for the family. I'm luckily in a position where I get to do what I love. And I love being a massage therapist, and I love being an educator, and I love being, helping people, find options for their health and wellness goals. And so I respect both sides, and I think we're seeing such a surge of people that are doing, what they love to do, and seeking out a job where they can be personally fulfilled, in their job or career. And they also want to make a contribution and make a positive difference in our world. So I'm so glad that was added. And again, if you are in a position where you are not in a job that is your vocation, or your lifelong dream or whatever, you still can make a difference. It's just how you look at it. It's just how you approach the situation. Sometimes it's bad enough where you can, but there's always ways to find balance, right? All right, the second to last one is spiritual, and it's all about maintaining harmonious relationships with other living beings, with ourselves, and also having direction. It represents our ethics and our morals and our values. Now, this is obviously a touchy subject, right? Because I never want to talk about religion, never want to offend anybody, but I think having a spiritual component of wellness is so much more than religion. And I think it speaks to how you can connect with yourself and with your essence, okay, with your spirit. And because we are all made individual, right? There's no two people alike. And so what makes you you, and how can you connect with that? And what are your ethics and your morals and your values, and are you representing them? Are you speaking out loud, so to speak? And if you're not, then we need to connect with that. We need to figure out how you can connect with yourself and move on from that. That being connected with who you are and your sense of self will affect all of these other components so profoundly. But again, it'll create balance, within those components. And the last component is emotional. It's emotional. It's our emotions. It's how we experience emotions, good, bad, indifferent, and everything else in between, and how we express them in a positive and non-destructive way. Now, when I read this, I instantly think of Facebook and all of the passive-aggressive posts that I read and now have blocked because I want to surround myself with positive people. I want to surround myself with people that can say, that upset me, but you're still cool, or I still love you, or however the relationship calls for. But the passive aggressiveness, that is not it's not constructive. It's a very destructive way to go through life and to share your emotions. And again, the balance is not there, and they're lacking, and it's kind of scary. Unfortunately, with Facebook and social media and whatever else, people have much more opportunity to share their emotions, but not necessarily in a constructive way. So we have to take a look at that and see how we can do that better and how we can express our feelings better. Okay? So does anybody have any questions? I know I just spoke a lot, and I'm I'm sorry for that, but I have so much to share. I could have gone on for hours. I had to pare this down a lot, and so I thank you for sticking with me and for being patient. And again, if you have any questions, you can email me or connect with me later, and I'm happy to get back to you with them. All right. So let's take a moment now and just figure out, how are you going to aim to thrive? How are you going to decide what you can do to create more wellness in your life? Okay. Are you going to start working out again? Are you going to maybe seek out different recipes that will, create, better feelings and be more nourishing for your body? Are you going to avoid risky behaviors like cigarettes and drugs and alcohol and all of that? Hopefully you do now already. Are you receiving body work? And I bring this up because I'm a fan of body work because I'm a licensed massage therapist, but body work slows the mind down just long enough so that you can actually hear what the body has to say. And the body speaks very loudly when it wants to. And what I mean by that is pain is usually the last symptom that we want to experience. There's other indicators or, oh my gosh, sorry about that, symptoms that we experience before the pain is created, by an imbalance in our body. So are you able to hear that? Are you able to, listen to what the body is saying? body work, acupuncture, massage therapy, acupuncture, even chiropractic care will help you experience that. What about meditation for the spiritual component? That will, again, slow the mind down long enough that you can connect and you can, kind of organize your thoughts and even just eliminate thinking, even just for half an hour. We actually started our meditation group last night at Rec City Wellness. It's the second Tuesday of the month, so we hope you can join us. What about starting a gratitude journal or enjoying life more, just in general? It sounds cliche, but it's true. If you can appreciate what you have been granted, you tend to find the joy in smaller things instead of looking for a bigger prize. Okay? So how are you going to create wellness in your life? How are you going to aim to thrive? How are you going to initiate movement in your life that will ultimately lead to a balanced wellness, situation for you, which will create health? Okay, I want to leave you with this. Okay, optimum health is a direct result or consequence, if you will, from a balanced life. Okay, I'll say it again. Optimum health is a direct result or consequence from a balanced life. They're not synonymous, but you really can't have one without the other. So, wellness, again, is about thriving and not surviving. And I want you to really think how you can aim to thrive. Again, we are going to be talking about all the different components on future webinars. I would love for you to join us. They're all going to be free because I really want you to have the information, okay? And let's stay connected, all right? Well, before that, let's do a recap. Okay, health, again, is measurable. It is not something that you can make a choice on. It is essentially what we create from how balanced our wellness goals are, okay? We create wellness by the choices we make, and then ultimately, balanced wellness leads to optimum health, okay? All right, so now let's stay connected. Okay, I forgot I added that slide in. So we are on Facebook and Twitter, and Rec City Wellness is our handle for both. We also have a meetup group, and that's Rec City Wellness Community Education. And then, of course, our website is Rec City Wellness. Like I said before, we will have other webinars being posted soon. We're going to do them about every other week, and we are going to be expanding on the components of the wellness wheel that, like we talked about earlier. And we're going to be taking a peek at what they look like, and even introducing you to some of our local experts, some of which work right at the office. So you'll get to know them and get to meet them. I really work with a fantastic group of people, the best, I think, that are in Rochester. And so I'm so completely honored to be able to share them with you. So that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so, so, so much for sticking with me and for hanging out with me today. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your lunch hour. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. All right. If you need to get a hold of me, you can find me on Facebook. And you can also email us. My email address is found right on the Rock City Wellness website. And if you don't mind, if you're willing to share, I would love for you to share with all of our listeners and all of our clients which you are, and you can even do this anonymously if you want to just message me, but what you're going to do to aim to thrive, and share, kind of be accountable. We can help you out with that, and we can support you, and you can check back and say, yeah, I did that, or no, I didn't, I did something else, to create more balance in my life. So I'd love for you to do that. I'd love for you to connect with us on Facebook if you're willing to do that. Or email us and we can make it anonymous. And I look forward to hearing your stories and your goals and your visions and how you are going to aim to thrive and stay well and healthy. All right, so I wish you all the wellness in the world, and I hope you have a great afternoon. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.